Hello and welcome to my channel, How To with Paul Henderson. Today's episode, I will be installing the JLT Black Oil Separator, also known as a catch can. I will be installing this on my 2019 Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition double cab with a V8 5.3 liter Ecotec 3 engine, dynamic fuel management, and an 8-speed automatic transmission. The purpose of using a black oil separator is to catch the oily blow-by that gets past the pistons, winds up in the crankcase, and then from the crankcase it is redirected up and out the PVC valve, where it then goes a short distance back into the intake manifold, where it is then reused, reburnt, or recycled once again. So with the JLT, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be replacing the positive crankcase ventilation valve hose with the JLT unit. So what's going to happen is those oily vapors that are sent up from the crankcase, they're going to travel through the positive crankcase valve over to the JLT, where it'll then be filtered through a stainless steel screen. When the oil gets heavy enough to drip from that screen, it's going to drip in the bottom of the can. But in the meantime, it's going to be filtering out oil and some water contaminants. And then from there, the clean vapors will be sent back into the intake manifold to be reused, reburnt, or recycled once again. I bought the JLT from AmericanTrucks.com for $150. You can also purchase it from JLT.TrueColdAir.com for about the same price. There's one little problem though, it is not CARB approved for California, and you're probably asking, what does CARB stand for? It stands for California Air Resource Board. So if you order this unit and you live in California and you have a California mailing address, your order will be canceled. So listen to me carefully. There are ways around it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you know someone who lives in another state, you can always have it sent to them and then have it redirected back to you. But the good news is they are working on getting it CARB approved. So it is a pretty expensive and timely process. But if for some reason you did get it sent to your house in California, just call up once a month to see if it's approved yet. And then they'll most likely have you take a picture of your VIN number, your registration, and then they'll send you a CARB sticker to stick on your engine to prove that it's been CARB approved for California. So that's all I'm saying. When you receive your JLT 3.0 in the mail, it comes just like this. These two hoses are pre-installed with factory style OEM connectors at both ends. You get a JLT bracket with their logo on it, 2 screws and a nut, and of course the instructions. Now how this works is this hose here will be going to your positive crankcase ventilation valve. This goes to the intake manifold. As the oily vapors travel through this canister, they will be filtered and clean air will be sent back into the intake manifold to be reused or recycled. The reason why they call it a 3.0 is this catch can is 3 ounces. So now on to the install. What you're going to need for the install is a ratchet, an extension, 10mm socket, 8mm deep socket, a 10mm wrench, a Phillips screwdriver, and a flathead screwdriver. You will need to remove this screw on the side of the coolant recovery tank. And when that screw is removed, you'll be able to pull this away from the firewall, because that's where the bracket's going to mount. Loosen this hose clamp and the hose clamp on the throttle body and this hose off the back of the throttle body airbox. Then you'll need to disconnect this hose from the positive crankcase valve, and the other end is right down here on the intake manifold. Well, come to find out, I don't have to remove this or anything else. All I have to do is reach in here, pull that end of the hose off, twist this around to push on this one. It's kind of a little bitch. That's it. So to mount the bracket, you need to remove this screw on the side of the coolant recovery tank. Once you remove that screw, all you do then is to pull that off, grab the bracket. Okay, now I already pre-did the screws. I'm just going to make sure that they're nice and tight. And now what you're going to do, just drop my 10 millimeter wrench down on the bottom. And lucky for me, I have another wrench right here. Just square up your bracket and tighten it down. There we go. Push the reservoir back on. Be sure to put the screw back in over here. Now to connect these hoses, the long one goes to the PCV valve, which is right here. You'll hear it snap in place. Take the shorter hose, goes right on the intake manifold port. And that's it. Now just take your 3-ounce catch can and screw it on. That's it. All done. I did not need to remove this or the breather hose on the other side. I was able to get to it with no problem. So here's the unit all installed. The hose on the side of the coolant recovery tank is connected to the positive crankcase valve. The shorter hose is connected to the intake manifold. So what's going to happen is those oily vapors are going to travel up through this hose into the JLT and come out here nice and clean and go right back into the intake manifold to be recycled. So basically what this is going to do, it's going to extend the life of my motor, because now the oily vapors that would normally be sent back into the intake manifold to be recycled is now going to be clean. It's not going to be dirty, so it shouldn't cake up the backside of the valves. Installation was a piece of cake. All I had to do was remove this from the positive crankcase valve and this from the port on the intake manifold. Even though the instructions said to remove the air box from the throttle body and the breather hose, I did not need to do that. And looking inside this end of the hose, this end is on the PCV valve. There is some oil in there. So this JLT 3.0 catch can is going to do the trick. It's going to catch that oil before it is reintroduced back into the intake manifold to be recirculated. So that's it, and that's a wrap up on another how-to video with Paul Henderson, and this one was the installation of the JLT 3.0 Black Oil Separator, also known as a catch can. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and stay after the video for some outtakes, because I always have some, and I know I got some on this one because I filmed everything in order this time. So have a good day, and hope your fuel vapor mist stays clean. I forgot. I'll be back in about 3,000 miles. We'll unscrew the catch can cup and we'll see how much the JLT Black Oil Separator catch can actually caught. JLT does recommend cleaning the stainless steel filter that is within the unit about every 10 to 15,000 miles. You could probably go 20. It all depends upon how much this catch can actually catches every 3,000 miles. So see you then. I figure maybe 2 months I'll be back and I'll do a cleaning video of the JLT Black Oil Separator. This is just a test. Welcome to my channel, How To with Paul Henderson. Today's episode I will be installing the JLT, and the sun is still a little bit too bright. Might have to wait a few more minutes till it gets a little higher. Damn it. The purpose of using a black oil separator is to catch the, one more take. Test 1, test 2, test 3. The purpose of using, let me see what I'm supposed to say. The purpose of using a black oil separator is to catch the oily blow-by that gets past the pistons, goes down into the crankcase, I believe. The purpose of using a black oil separator is to catch the oily You're going to put this unit in its place, and what it's going to do is, as those oily vapors are sent through the PVC valve, gotta have a hard time saying that, one more time. Test 1, test 2, test 3. With the JTL black oil separator or catch can, you'll be replacing the PCV valve hose, positive crankcase ventilation valve. No, positive crankcase ventilation valve. Damn it. They go over to the JLT, where the oily vapors and waters and any other contaminant, that don't even make sense. So what's gonna happen is when those oily vapors are sent from the crankcase up and out the PCV valve, fucking bitch. God damn it, I can't say that. The hoses will be pre-installed. You also have 2 factory connectors, 1 at each end. They are OEM style. No, fucking bitch. The hoses are pre-installed. At the end of each hose, there are factory OEM style connectors. You have the bracket with the JLT logo. Son of a biscuit. Well, that's a wrap up on another how-to video with Paul Henderson. This one was the installation of the JLT black oil catch can separator. This is all you have to remove to put the catch can on. It was a piece of cake. So that's it. At the end of my videos, why are there always flies? Do I smell? Damn it. One more time. Ah, shit.